Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to Eielson Air Force Base for the redesignation of the 168th Air Refueling Wing to the 168th Wing. Today, the men and women of the 168th Air Refueling Wing acknowledge the end of a chapter in the history of the unit and Eielson Air Force Base. We open a new chapter with the redesignation of the 168th Air Refueling Wing. Colonel Torrance Sachs, commander of the 168th Air Refueling Wing, will preside and conduct the ceremony this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party. Please remain standing for the posting of the colors, the singing of the national anthem, and the Alaska State Song by Senior Airman Hannah Moore, and the invocation given by Chaplain Raymond Loudermilk.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Eight stars of gold on a field of blue, Alaska's flag may it mean to you. The blue of the sea, the evening sky, the mountain lakes and the flowers nearby, the early gold of the sourdough streams, the precious gold of the hills and streams, the brilliant stars in the northern sky, the Bear, the Dipper, and shining high, the great North Star with its steady light, o'er land and sea, a beacon bright. Alaska's flag to Alaskans dear, the simple flag of our last frontier.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, I would like to introduce the members of the official party. Commander, 168th Air Refueling Wing, Colonel Torrance Sachs. Command Chief, 168th Air Refueling Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Philip Hunt. We would also like to welcome our distinguished guests, family, and friends. Please hold all applause until the end of recognizing our distinguished guests. Vice Wing Commander, 354th Fighter Wing, Colonel William Culver. Acting Command Chief, 354th Fighter Wing, Chief Master Sergeant David Williams. Director of Staff, Air, Joint Force Headquarters, Colonel David McFeeters. State of Alaska Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Stephen Calvin. Mr. Jeff Jacobson, representing City of Fairbanks, Mayor Eberhardt's office. Ms. Shelley Savara, Military Liaison for the Fairbanks North Star Borough. 168th Operations Group Commander, Colonel Brian White. 168th Maintenance Group Commander, Colonel Marvin E. 168th Mission Support Group Commander, Colonel Scott Howard. 168th Medical Group Commander, Colonel Craig Thomas. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 168th Air Refueling Wing, Colonel Torrance Sachs.
Well, good morning, everybody. How many folks are here from Claire? Okay, that's a pretty good showing. Thanks for coming. All right, Colonel Culver, Chief Williams, thanks for coming, guys. This is the best relationship I've seen between the Guard and active duty. I just want to do my part to keep that going. I know you guys are doing the same, so appreciate y'all being here. Representing the state, Colonel Peters, man, good to see you, and Chief Calvin. You've always been a big supporter, one for Eielson, but also for Claire. Good to see you. Shelley, glad you're here. Thanks for the emails you always send me to keep me on track. That's to include tomorrow. You just remind me about the meetings. So good job, Mr. Jacobson. Nice to meet you, sir. Glad you're here. Okay, I do have a couple more things before we get going. And I was going to say the tall man behind the podium, but you're not standing behind the podium. This is the guy that actually gets this all together. This is his idea. And Sergeant Deputy, I think I saw you out there. Didn't recognize you. You're growing a mustache. And also Sergeant Peters. These are the three that really put this together, and this is their idea, and I like what you guys have done. So, Airman Moore, she told me earlier that she had a cold. I can't believe it because that sounded very good. Once again, you set the stage. Way to go. So, two things you got to know about any unit. You got to have roots and wings, and if you know where you want to go, it really does help to see where you have been before. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the guy on back there, just please take a look. You're going to see it here in a moment. But that is living history. And as far as the history for us, talking about the roots of this wing, we started way back in 1942. We saw action in World War II, both the European theater and also the Pacific theater. Lots of action over the skies in England and also over North Africa. So yeah, we were part of the invasion that beat Rommel. We helped beat the Nazis. And also in 1945, we were part of the air invasion of Japan. This unit did help to bring World War II to a more speedy conclusion. At the time, we were the 437th Bombardment Squadron. In 1946, though, we got a much more familiar name. Became the 168th Bomb Squadron. Anybody know what we were flying back then? B-25s, B-26s. Yeah, there's no heat in those things. So fast forward to 1951. But the most interesting thing I can glean from this period, during Korea, we were actually over in France, and we were going back and forth between Kaunas and also France. We were flying right above the deck because no heat, no de-icing. That's a long flight when you're flying right above the deck the whole way. Great skill, lots of stamina to do that. 1953, we became a fighter squadron, and we were flying the F-51s and the F-84s. Lots of different airframes. Finally, 1958, we inactivated as a unit. So that's where it really does pick up for the last year National Guard. And I'm glad these are up here to really showcase what we have done. So mid-80s, 85, 86, there were two men I've got to give credit to bring the tankers here. And one of them was Senator Ted Stevens, absolute powerhouse. He was probably the driving force to get this unit here. And also Lieutenant Colonel William Clinton, in relation to the more famous Bill Clinton. But how many people in here actually served within Colonel Clinton? There has to be a couple. Okay, if you ever get to read his bio, it's incredible. Multiple tours in Vietnam, about 5 tours. I cannot think of a better commander to stand up this unit. So 1985 time frame, we did fall underneath the Adjutant General. And finally, in 1986, in a brief time, we were underneath the 176 in the composite group. But the big day for this unit, it happened on the 25th of October, 1986. And that's depicted by this picture. We became the 168th Air Refueling Squadron. So, you know what model we flew back then? It wasn't ours, it was the D's and the U's. And just anecdotally, I was talking to Colonel White yesterday, and as far as the simulator, folks would actually show up in civilian clothes because it was an American Airlines simulator. Okay, that's how much we have changed. So, 86, ARS, 1990, we became a group. In 1992, our current configuration, the Air Refueling Wing. So fast forward, 2006, the original question I asked, how many folks do we have here from Clear? That's when the unit, the 213 Space Warning Squadron, stood up and was federally recognized. Missile warning and space surveillance. So roughly a decade, you all have been part of the wing. And part of today is to recognize that officially. Now, we've gone from flying bombers to fighters, a couple versions of the tanker, and of course the space mission in 2006. What has been the continuous thread through all that? The airframes are going to change. It's the people. It is the airmen. I'm not going to talk about them yet, but we got a couple back there I'm going to talk about here in a minute. And some of them have been part of this unit since the initial inception back in 1986. So I did want to go over just briefly the first one. There's a lot of symbolism on this patch. And the more I dig into the history, this is important as far as the vision, as far as the way ahead. The compass, that's set to Alaska bearings. That's not something we're ever going to change. The yellow background, don't see a whole lot right now, but that's the Alaska midnight sun. Okay, this is the part I really want to clue in on. The stars. That's the big dipper in a different configuration. So if you really want to break it down, that's the Alaska flag. Now, we differ a little bit compared to our active duty counterparts. Federal. Everyone in here, what does it say on your uniform? United States Air Force. There's no question about that. But for guardsmen, you have a dual purpose. And that's to serve the state as well. And as far as the vision, that's something that's going to change a whole lot for the 168th in the upcoming months. So just be ready for that. As far as the red lightning bolt, military prowess. I'm sure we got some SAC warriors in here somewhere. Okay, at least one, two, good. That looks familiar. In the clouds, that's the medium in which we fly. This is the proposed patch. And I gotta ask for the folks in the back of the room, I hope that doesn't look like a piece of macaroni. I'm telling you, the early prototypes, that's exactly what it looked like. You didn't get it right, but this one looks a lot better. And Sergeant Stewart, I know you're out there, you're the one that really put a whole lot of effort into this. But the only thing that is changing on the proposed wing patch, as opposed to the way it is right now, aside from the name, is the horn. And as Chief Hunt always reminds me, the official name for that is a shofar. And for the guys from Clear, we took that directly from your patch. A shofar was blown to sound the alarm. Something is coming, be ready. What you guys do out there at Clear, 24/7 deployed in place, saying it is safe to sleep tonight. Not just for Alaska, but also for North America. Okay, we're going to bring some guys up, and I'm going to talk about them briefly, more symbolism, and then we're going to redesignate the wing.
The symbol of every Air Force unit's life and history is its guidon. It is a visual record of a unit's battles, campaigns, and awards. The casing of a unit's guidon is a closing of a chapter in a unit's history. The guidon is not destroyed, but it is retired. If the Air Force chooses to reactivate the unit at a later time, the guidon will be returned to active duty to serve as a rallying point. It becomes the challenge and responsibility of the new unit to add to its distinguished service and rich history. Chief Hunt, please post in the position of honor.
Okay, the first thing I want to say before we actually talk about individually, I think you notice there's a similarity between all four men up here, and that's that they are the enlisted corps. As far as vision, as far as things that are going forward, there's a lot of talk about the enlisted corps being the backbone of the organization. Guys, I mean it, and I want to show it, and that's why Chief Hunt is in that position of honor. This is the way we're going to move forward. But as far as the two gentlemen holding the guidons, one is holding the ARW guidon, and one is holding the wing guidon. There are now 4 original members, meaning folks that were here within the unit in 1986 and 1987. One Sergeant Rudy, one Sergeant Fine. And that's why they are holding the guidons. So that was a probably more difficult task, because when you're talking about a wing of roughly 600 people, now we're down to 4. What was a little easier is we're trying to find the youngest airman. So Airman Cardenas, I really appreciate you volunteering to do this as well. This is signifying passing the torch from the present to the future. Every single person in here, to include the ones on stage, even though some of us are a little bit older, we are the present. Okay, but some have a tangible link to our inception for the 168 as far as our Alaska roots. For Airman Cardenas, and I know his father is out there somewhere, I just talked to him. Yeah, you gotta be a proud dad right now. He's gonna be the future. And 20, 30 years from now, when he's in this unit, I hope he can look back and say he had a tangible part in standing at the 168th Wing. So I think that's a good way to move forward. The last thing I'm gonna leave you with, as far as the vision, there's a poem that was written years ago. It's called "It's the Soldier." I'm sure you guys have heard of it. And I'm gonna paraphrase a couple of lines. But it is the soldier, not the poet, that is giving you freedom of speech. It's the soldier, not the reporter, that's giving you freedom of the press. It's the soldier that salutes the flag, works under the flag, and for us that's both of them, both the U.S. and the Alaska, and whose coffin is draped by the flag. So what does that really mean? It's selfless sacrifice. If you want a two-word mission statement for the 168th, provide freedom. That's what you guys do. That's what we did under the 168th ARW, and absolutely that's what we're going to do under the 168th Wing. I can't think of a better way to move forward. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the redesignation.
Publish the orders.
Attention to orders. Special order number Air G006, 168th Air Refueling Wing, Eielson Air Force Base, Alaska, is redesignated as the 168th Wing on 1 February 2016 and remains assigned to the Headquarters, Alaska Air National Guard, with no change in gaining command, PACAF. Authority, DAF A1M Letter 654 Tango, dated 15 January 2016. By order of the Governor, signed Brigadier General Laurel J. Hummel, Alaska National Guard, the Adjutant General. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the departure of the official party and the playing of the Air Force song. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, flying high into the sun. Here they come, to meet our thunder, and boys, give the gun, give the gun. Down we dive, starting our flames from under, off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame, we're down in flames. Hey, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Colonel Sachs would like to thank everyone for attending. Thank you for all the help and support. Have a great day. Thank you.